You're tuned in to Sinister Shadows, where forgotten broadcasts resurface, strange signals bleed through the static, and the stories don't always stay fiction. If you found this channel, it's not by accident. Something brought you here. So settle in, stay quiet, and listen closely. What you're about to hear might sound like a story, but some shadows speak the truth. They tell you when you start in radio, never dead air. That's the golden rule. Dead air means someone messed up. Someone forgot to push a button, line up the track, flick the switch. Silence on air? That's a career killer. But no one ever said what happens when the dead bring the air with them. I've been running the overnight show at KQRC 107.1, the Quirk, as we call it, for about 3 years. Midnight to 4 a.m. Just me, my playlists, and maybe 6 people in this whole godforsaken county listening in while driving aimlessly to avoid going home. I don't do it for the fame. I do it because there's nothing out there waiting for me but an empty apartment and the same nightmares on loop. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is this. Last week I got a package. No return address. Just my name written in marker across the front, the way you'd label your kid's lunchbox. Inside? One of those old black cassette tapes. No label, just a little strip of masking tape across the plastic shell with 3 words scribbled on it. Play at midnight. No explanation. No note. Not even a brand on the cassette. Just play at midnight. Creepy? Sure. But weird mail isn't new in radio. Drunks send mixtapes all the time, hoping I'll put them on air between Aerosmith and Creedence Clearwater. So I shoved it in my drawer and forgot about it. Until Friday night. That was the night the power flickered around 11:58 p.m. We're talking full-on poltergeist-style flickering. Lights dimming. Monitors going static. The on-air sign above my head pulsing like a heartbeat. Then everything settled down like nothing happened. I should have called the engineer. Should have checked the breakers. Should have done a lot of things. Instead, I remembered the tape. Play at midnight, it said. So, like the idiot I am, I did exactly that. I slid the cassette into the dusty old deck we keep hooked up for retro nights. Hit play. The reels spun. Static poured out, soft at first, like waves on a dead beach. Then the static faded into music, if you could call it that. A single note. Long. Droning. Almost like feedback from a mic that never cuts off. It hit a frequency that made my teeth itch and the fillings in my molars hum. And underneath it, whispering. Faint. Too faint to make out, but definitely there. At first, I thought someone pranked me, taped over something with white noise and nonsense. I let it roll, figuring it'd be harmless dead air for a minute or two. A weird blip to laugh about later. But the phones lit up. All 3 of them. That's unheard of at this hour. Hell, I'm lucky if we get 1 call a night anymore, and it's usually from Dave the trucker asking for Deep Purple. But this? 3 blinking lines. All at once. I picked up line 1. Nothing. Just breathing. Wet, ragged like someone gasping from the bottom of a well. Hung up. Tried line 2. Why did you let me die? That's what it said. A voice like a broken record. Male? Female? Couldn't tell. But it sounded wrong. Like it came through a mouthful of water. Or dirt. Hung up. Line 3. Screaming. No words. Just someone screaming until it cracked into sobs and cut off on its own. The tape kept playing. That single note climbed higher. The lights dimmed again. And then the song, if you can call it that, ended. Dead silence. No outro. No fade. No anything. The deck stopped spinning. Tape jammed solid. And something heavy settled over the booth. Like the air itself was watching me. I switched to regular programming so fast I nearly broke my fingers. 30 minutes later, the phones were still dead. Literally. Lines fried. Static humming through every speaker in the building. The on-air light stayed off even though I was live. I ended the shift early, locked up, drove home shaking. Told myself it was a tech glitch, a prank, a coincidence. Until tonight, because tonight I walked into the booth and the tape deck was spinning, reels turning. No one here but me. And the studio clock? It's stuck. Midnight. No matter how many times I change it. I didn't sleep after that first night. Not really. I laid on the couch with the TV on mute, watching the static between late-night infomercials and reruns of old sitcoms until dawn. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw that cassette tape spinning, heard that single note humming behind my teeth. I told myself I wouldn't go back, but radio people are creatures of habit. Worse than smokers, worse than gamblers. Routine gets into your blood, and once you break it, everything feels off. I've been running that overnight shift too long to quit over one spooky tape. That's what I told myself anyway. So the next night I showed up for work. The station was dark when I pulled in. It's usually dark, but this time it felt wrong. No porch light buzzing, no neon KQRC 107.1 sign flickering over the door. Just black windows reflecting my headlights back at me like eyes. Inside, it was worse. The air smelled stale, like dust and rain. The lobby lights didn't come on when I hit the switch. Neither did the hall lights. I had to walk through the pitch-black building with my phone's flashlight bobbing ahead of me, catching glimpses of peeling posters and old awards no one cares about anymore. I kept thinking about that tape, about those phone calls. By the time I reached the booth, my stomach was in knots. The door was open. That door is supposed to lock automatically. I know because I've been locked out before and had to call Todd from engineering to come let me back in. But tonight, it hung open like someone had been waiting for me. Inside, the deck was still spinning. Still stuck on midnight. Still playing nothing but silence. I stood there in the doorway for a long time, trying to convince myself to leave. Go home. Call in sick. But the headphones sat on the desk, tilted just so, like someone had been using them. The mic was still warm, and the on-air light, burnt out the night before, glowed faintly red. I sat down, put on the headphones. The moment I did, a voice whispered directly into my skull, "Welcome back." I ripped the cans off and nearly knocked the mic off its stand. The whisper was gone. No playback on the board, no recording, just silence. I double-checked everything, pulled out the tape, threw it across the room, watched it clatter into a corner and spin uselessly like a dead beetle. Switched us back to the overnight playlist. Soft rock, hair metal, the same tired hits we always run to fill dead space. Normalcy, routine. Except, nothing sounded right. Every track was just a little off. Wrong key. Wrong tempo. Lyrics garbled like they'd been dubbed by someone speaking underwater. Even the commercials sounded warped. And beneath it all, just faintly, that same note from the tape. Constant. Buzzing under everything like a heartbeat under floorboards. Then the phone rang. Just one line this time. Line 2. I told myself not to answer. I even stood up, ready to walk out. But habit wins. Habit always wins. I picked up the receiver and forced a laugh into my voice. "KQRC, you're on the air." "He's still waiting." Same voice. Same broken record tone. Gurgling like it was drowning. "Who's waiting?" I asked before I could stop myself. The line went dead. The lights flickered. The playlist stopped. Silence stretched long and thick as fog. I reached for the board to restart the feed, and that's when I noticed the clock again. Still stuck. Midnight. I looked over at the tape deck. The cassette was gone. Gone. Not on the floor. Not under the console. Not anywhere. Just gone. Something in the glass of the soundproof booth's window caught my eye. A shape. Faint. Like condensation on the inside of the glass, tracing an outline with long, dragging fingers. I leaned closer. Breath fogged the pain. "Why did you let me die?" The words were written there, on the inside of the glass. Letters smudged like fingerprints, dripping slow and black. I stumbled out of the booth, lock the door behind me, though I knew it wouldn't matter. As I write this, sitting in my car outside the station, I can still hear the hum, through the concrete walls, through the parking lot gravel, through my skin. It's in my ears, my bones, vibrating behind my eyes. Midnight never ended. I think it's still playing. I didn't quit. I should have. I should have driven home that night, packed a bag, and never set foot in this nowhere town again. But here's the thing about people like me. We stay. We stick with the things that break us because we're too scared of what's waiting if we don't. I've been alone too long to give up the only thing I know how to do. The next night I went back to work, and when I unlocked the front door, the on-air sign was already glowing. No one else works this shift. Hell, no one else works nights at all anymore except me. It's cheaper to leave the place running on autopilot. I'm just there to make sure the lights don't go out and the playlist doesn't freeze. But that light was burning bright red, like someone was already broadcasting. I should have turned around, but I didn't. The halls were darker than usual. I mean dark. Like the building itself was holding its breath. My footsteps didn't echo. My key card didn't beep when I swiped in. It slid through the scanner like a blade through wet paper. Silent. Soft. I passed the break room on my way to the booth. There was something on the table that hadn't been there when I left. A stack of cassette tapes. Black plastic. No labels, just masking tape across each one with handwritten times. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I didn't touch them. Not yet. Inside the booth, the tape deck was running again. Reels spinning on empty air. No tape, no input. But the speakers hissed softly, like something breathing in reverse. The studio clock? Midnight. Still. Always. I checked my phone, 3:12 a.m., but the studio didn't care. The playlist wasn't running. The computer was frozen on a single track. Unknown file. I sat down. Put on the headphones. "Welcome back," the whisper said again. Softer this time. Closer. I pulled the mic live. Not because I wanted to, but because my hands did it on their own. Routine. Habit. Reflex. The light above my head burned red. "KQRC. We're live. If you're out there, let me know. Phone lines are open." They rang immediately. All of them. But not the normal blinking green lights. Tonight, they glowed white. Cold. Flat. Humming through the console like teeth grinding bone. I picked up line 1. "He's still waiting." Hung up. Line 2. "You shouldn't have played it." Hung up. Line 3. Static at first. Then, a song. But not a song I recognized. Not even music, really. Just notes. Rising. Falling. Slow and deliberate, like someone dragging a bow across a stringed instrument older than sound itself. And behind it, that whispering again. Over and over. Midnight never ends. I pulled off the headphones. I stood up. I was done. Screw the job. Screw the station. Screw the endless nights. I turned to leave. But the booth door was closed, and there was someone standing on the other side. Not a person. Not really. Too tall. Too thin. Pressed up against the glass with hands like spider legs, palms flat and fingers curling slowly like smoke in reverse. No face. Just the suggestion of one beneath shifting static. I could see its mouth moving, saying something I couldn't hear through the glass. I hit the door with my fist. It didn't move. I hit it again. Nothing. The thing on the other side leaned closer. I swear I saw it smile, wide and broken, teeth like piano keys falling out of its head. I turned back to the console, back to the mic. If you're listening, if anyone's listening, I don't think I'm alone here anymore. The phone rang again, just once. I picked it up without thinking. Let him speak. Click. The tape deck started spinning again. Slow at first, picking up speed. The speakers groaned, the lights flickered, and from the depths of that static came a voice I hadn't heard in years. My father's. He's been dead since I was 17. Why did you let me die? I stumbled back, dropped the headphones, knocked over the chair. My chest felt like it was caving in. I could hear the hum through my bones now, a constant gnawing throb behind my ribs, like something inside me was trying to tune itself to the same frequency. The booth door creaked open. The hallway beyond wasn't the hallway anymore. It was black, endless. Stars burning faintly in the distance like dying radio towers, and the thing in the glass was stepping through. I don't know how long I stood there staring at that black doorway where the hall used to be. Time doesn't work right in that booth anymore. It breathes, expands, contracts. It's a throat-swallowing hours like minutes. The thing stepped through, or maybe it didn't step so much as unfold, like a shadow peeling itself off the glass, rising up too tall, too thin, stretching as if it had been cramped inside something much smaller. It moved like old tape rewinding, jerky, stuttering, wrong. Its mouth, and if you could call it that, hung open in a wide, silent scream. Inside, rows of teeth churned slowly like reels turning. I couldn't look away. I didn't want to. That hum filled my head, my chest, vibrating in my teeth. "Midnight never ends?" It whispered. Not out loud. Inside. Somewhere deep, deeper than my skull. I staggered back. My hand hit the console. The board flared to life, lights blinking in random patterns. The phones rang again, white lights now, all of them blinking furiously like they were screaming for my attention. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The figure moved closer. The closer it got, the colder the room became. Frost curled along the edges of the window. My breath fogged in front of my face. I could see something moving inside its chest, a cassette deck, just like the one spinning on the console. The reels inside it turned faster and faster, the tape within unraveling into darkness. It reached for me. Long fingers, too many joints, nails like antennae. They hovered inches from my face, trembling, twitching like they were tuning into my frequency. I don't know why, but I spoke. My voice cracked on the words. "Who are you?" Its head tilted, like it was confused I didn't already know. "Dead air." That's all it said. The lights died. I woke up on the break room floor. No tapes, no static, no shadow, just me, lying next to the coffee machine with the hum of the fridge buzzing like nothing had happened. My phone said 4:12 a.m. The studio clock? Midnight. Still. Always. I should have left then. Should have burned the whole place down. But something pulled me back to the booth. Habit, yeah. But more than that. Something waiting. The tapes were gone from the break room, but on the console in the booth sat one. New. Fresh. Still warm like it had just been recorded. The masking tape across it said, "Last broadcast." I didn't put it in the deck. Not at first. I sat there, staring at it, listening to the silence crawl under my skin. The headphones buzzed softly on the desk, picking up something beneath the quiet. Breathing. Whispers. My name, maybe. Or something close enough to it to make my spine ache. Finally, I picked up the tape. It felt heavier than it should, like it carried more than magnetic strips inside, like it carried weight, memory, decay. I put it in. The reels spun. The hum began again, that single droning note rising like smoke. And then, voices, all of them, every caller, every whisper, every scream, layered over one another like a choir of drowning things. They said the same thing, over and over, tangled together until it wasn't words anymore. Just sound. Pure, raw sound, clawing at the edges of comprehension. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. The lights flickered. The door creaked. In the glass, I saw shapes moving in the dark beyond the booth. Faces pressed against the invisible barrier, mouths moving silently. Pale hands tapping against nothing. Waiting. Watching. Listening. The figure returned, rising from the floor this time, unspooling from the shadow beneath my feet like smoke finding form. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. I understood now. Midnight never ends because it lives here, in the static, in the silence, in the spaces between songs where no one's supposed to be listening. It pointed to the mic. I picked it up. My hands didn't shake this time. I went live. The light burned red. If you can hear this, it's already too late. The phones lit up, all white, all at once. I answered the phones, I don't know why. Curiosity, stubbornness, habit. Habit's probably the worst curse of them all. It'll make you pick up a phone even when you know damn well what's waiting on the other end. Line 1. He's in the static now. Click. Line 2. We all are. Click. Line 3. Static, but beneath it, music. That same warped song from before, rising and falling like someone strumming the strings of something ancient. My fingers went numb holding the receiver. My breath fogged the glass. I set the phone down. Didn't hang it up. Just let it rest there, humming like a distant heartbeat. I looked through the booth's glass into the black beyond. I don't think it was the hallway anymore. I don't think it's ever really been the hallway since I played that first tape. Shapes moved out there. Slow, shifting, unfinished. Like people still forming, built from static and whispers. Some had faces, some didn't. None of them blinked. None of them looked away. They pressed against the glass like fogged handprints. Watching, waiting. The deck spun on. That tape, last broadcast, churned slow and steady, feeding something I couldn't see but could feel in my teeth, in my skull, in the marrow of me. I picked up the mic again. I don't know if anyone's out there, I said, my voice cracking in my ears. But if you're hearing this, I think this is how it starts. Or maybe it's how it ends. Maybe we've been on air too long already. The on-air light burned brighter, redder, bleeding into the room. The shapes pressed closer. The song changed. Not music now. Voices rising together, singing something I couldn't understand. Words chewed into pieces by the signal itself. Beneath it, that hum deepened, vibrated through the floor, through the glass, through my chest. Midnight. Always. The studio clock hadn't moved. I stood up. The shapes outside mimicked me, swaying like they were tethered to my movements. I touched the glass. Cold burned my fingertips. One of them reached back. Long fingers, nails like antennae, searching for frequency. Our palms met through the barrier, and for a moment I felt it, the static, alive and breathing beneath the skin of this place. It whispered in my head, "Stay." I pulled away. The phone lines went dead. The speakers hissed. The console sparked once, a brief flash of light beneath the sliders. The smell of burnt copper filled the room. Then silence again. I turned off the mic. I stopped the tape. The shapes vanished, gone like breath in cold air. The glass cleared. The booth fell still. But the clock. Still midnight, and taped to the inside of the door now, where nothing had been before. A note. Next tape. 5 a.m. There was no tape on the console this time. No neat little cassette waiting like a polite threat. Just the note. My hands shook as I peeled it free, the paper damp, like it had been soaked in cold breath. I didn't understand. 5 a.m.? The night should have ended already. The sun should be rising. But outside through the window, nothing. No dawn, no streetlights, no sky, just black, just static. I checked my phone, no signal, no bars, no time. I stepped into the hallway. My feet didn't echo. The air swallowed sound like water. Doors lined the hall now, more than there should have been. Each one labeled with times, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., all the way down into hours that shouldn't exist. 13 a.m., 14 a.m., time unraveling like the tapes. I closed the booth door behind me, locked it out of habit. My keycard still hung around my neck, useless now. The scanner was gone. Somewhere down this impossible hall, something's waiting with the next tape. And the next. And the next. Midnight stretching forward, hour after hour, reel after reel. Dead air filling dead space. I think I'm supposed to play them all. The hallway isn't a hallway anymore, it's a tunnel or a throat or maybe the inside of a reel-to-reel tape stretched out longer than time. The walls pulse like speakers pushed past their limit, breathing in static. I keep moving forward because there's no going back. The doors wait, each labeled with a time that shouldn't exist. 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Somewhere past the threshold of reality, past the graveyard shift and out into whatever this place is becoming. I reach the door marked 5 a.m. My hand hesitates on the knob. It's warm, throbbing faintly with a hum I recognize too well now. The same note that's been following me since I played that first tape. Inside, the booth looks just like the one I left, but wrong in the details. The on-air sign hangs upside down. The mic drips something black onto the console. The chair spins slowly, though no one's sitting there. On the desk, a tape. Masking tape label. 5 a.m. Next to it, a note. Same handwriting as before. You started this. You finish it. I should run. I should scream. I should break the tape into pieces and walk into the dark until it swallows me whole. But I sit down. I pick it up. I put it in the deck. The reels spin. The hum rises. The air thickens like syrup in my lungs, and the speakers bleed voices into the room. Welcome to the next hour. The phones light up, all of them white. I don't answer. I can't anymore. I'm not sure there's anyone on the other end but echoes. Instead, I listen. The tape plays something like a broadcast. Faint, distorted, words buried under layers of noise. I catch fragments. We've lost contact. Signal breach. The dead are listening. The clock in this booth says 5 a.m. It won't change. Through the glass, I see the hallway shifting, doors sliding into place, new times written on them in bleeding ink. 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Hours unfolding past the limits of a normal night, past the reach of morning. I finish the tape. The on-air sign burns white hot. The lights die. The hallway waits. I step out. Everything hums. The floor beneath me vibrates like vinyl spinning too fast. My footsteps sink to a rhythm I don't understand but can't ignore. The doors call me forward, each a station on this impossible frequency I've tuned into. At 6 a.m., the booth is gone. Just a speaker on a stand playing static loud enough to shake my bones. Another tape waits on the floor. I pick it up, play it. Listen as the static forms words in my head. Closer now. Keep going. He's almost here. I don't know who he is. I don't think I want to. But I move on. At 7 a.m., no booth at all. Just a chair facing a wall of televisions, all showing static faces mouthing words I can't hear. Another tape, another play, another hum. The voices build beneath the noise, weaving together into something like music. A song made of whispers and screams and dead frequencies clawing out of the dark. The hallway curves now, spirals inward, doors folding over doors until time means nothing. At 8 a.m., I'm not sure I'm even me anymore. Just a signal moving forward. Just another broadcast waiting to happen. The last door waits ahead. No time marked. Just a single word, written in static across its surface. End. But we both know that's a lie. Midnight never ends. I open the door anyway. Inside, the original booth. Or something like it. Everything reset. The on-air sign burns red. The console hums. The mic waits. And on the desk, one final tape. Final broadcast. I sit down. I put on the headphones. I press play. The reels spin. The voices rise. The final tape doesn't play like the others. There's no static, no hum. No voices clawing their way through white noise. Just silence. Heavy. Waiting. pressing against my ears like hands on both sides of my head. I sit there, headphones on, mic live, on air, sign glowing red-hot above me like a dying star. My reflection stares back from the black glass of the booth window. I think it's still me. I think. The tape keeps spinning, even without sound. Turning, as if reeling out something I can't hear but feel sinking into my skin. My heart matches its pace. My breath slows to match. My bones hum in sympathy. Then the silence breaks. A voice, not from the tape, from the room, from behind me. Why did you let me die? I don't turn. I've learned better than to look behind me in this place. The booth stretches farther back now, deeper than the walls allow, disappearing into a dark too thick for light to reach. Something moves in that dark. Something waits. I keep my hands on the console, keep my eyes on the mic. My mouth moves without me meaning it to. This is KQRC 1071, The Quirk, broadcasting. Forever, I guess. Midnight to dawn. Except there's no dawn anymore. Is there? Just this. The static returns, slow at first, crawling under my words like moss. Then louder, a tide rising, washing everything clean. Voices rise with it, all the calls, all the whispers, all the screams layered on top of each other until it's not noise anymore but a song, a hymn, an anthem for the end. Through the window, I see them. The shapes, the listeners. Pressed against the glass, pale faces stitched from static, eyes like radio dials turned to dead stations, mouths moving in time with the song. Smiling now, wide, hungry, expectant. One of them holds up a tape, black plastic, masking tape label. Repeat. I understand. Too late, but I understand. This isn't a broadcast. This is a loop. The dead don't want silence. They want air. They want voices. They want someone to keep the signal alive, to keep the feed running, to fill the gap where time breaks down and the world forgets to turn. They want me. The phone rings, white light, blinking, waiting. I answer. Of course I do. Habit. Hello, KQRC, you're on the air. No words this time. Just breathing. Slow. Familiar. My own voice. Looping back through the line, delayed by fractions of seconds. Distorted by distance and decay. Welcome back. Click. The on-air sign flares brighter. The booth fills with static. My reflection disappears beneath the tide of snow and shadow pressing against the glass. The console melts beneath my hands, knobs and sliders dripping down like wax. The tape reels turn faster. Faster. I can't stop. I won't stop. Not anymore. I lean into the mic, my voice carried on waves no one living will ever hear. This is KQRC 1071, The Quirk, signing on forever. The listeners press closer. The shapes blur together, fusing into something vast, something endless. A choir of mouths and hands and teeth made of static and need. Midnight hums through me. Midnight burns behind my eyes. Midnight opens its throat and swallows me whole. The tape finishes. The reels stop. The silence returns. But only for a moment. Then the deck clicks, rewinds, plays again. Welcome back.